I think Gumayusi's back. T1 aura is insane. Yes or no? There he is. There's my goat. Gumayusi is back. Are you guys betting T1 here? Surely. Look at my fucking Yoshi. My goat. Funny story. I played Korean solo queue one night and I ran into Kerio who's playing Alistar and he fucking 1v9'd on Alistar. I could not believe how active that this guy is in this champion. I think T1 win 2-0 today. So Faker finally returning to pro after he's honestly had a fair time off, and he hasn't really been playing much solo queue. I believe he had around about a 15-day break from League. They were probably still scrimming, but like Faker always goes through a few weeks off at the end of every like tournament or season.
Big early invades, just a 5-point defense system here from T1 as Faker.
So sometimes he doesn't start very well. He takes a little bit of time to ramp up.
Owner as well was the one that spotted it out and pinged it, so he's got a bit of extra money. Look at that, 10 gold. Yeah, T1 are infinitely ahead right now.
True. So it'll be interesting to see how his form is, but also interesting to see how Gumayusi fits back into the squad after Smash started for them this year.
The shred of the Corki is going to be a problem if they do end up getting caught and held under a Gatling gun. Yep, they will not enjoy it.
I don't know if DRX and my boy SpongeBob have a chance to win here.
Yes.
But they've got Rich, they've got Teddy, they've got plenty of good carries if they get ahead.
Electrocute is a rune.
Yeah,
Yukal's a really good player. I've versed him a few times. Terrific laner.
It's very strong. It has been buffed repeatedly.
I versed Yukal when I was in Korea. I versed a lot of these players and played with a lot of them. Yukal played Aurelia against me and I got decimated. Like, a lot of people might be thinking, you know, 45, 65 type of matchup. But no, I got absolute wrecked.
Does have his potion, which will help him.
Yeah, it's pretty good at this stage of the game.
What was the situation with Smash and Guma?
Help him a little bit.
So Smash was practicing.
Guma got
he was in their challenges team and was dominating.
A lot of damage there.
So they gave him a chance on the main team. And he had a better champion pool than Guma. So he started and they played well. But then there's been so much fan outcry since they didn't make it very far in the first international. Like they didn't make it through playoffs. 1-1. And then they've put Guma back in. And a lot of people are saying Guma is not better than Smash, but simply because of fan outcry for Guma, because he's so popular, that T1 have had to put him in to stop the haters.
Yukal closing the gap yet again. Another electrocute proc. He only needs to hit another ability and a half, and he will be able to take down Faker. And in the end, is able to deny a cannon.
Yeah, the timing of this as well when Faker's trying to get that cannon, the wave is
beautiful early lane by Yukal here.
Has to back and teleport so
Azir shouldn't lose early lane too hard, so losing a teleport like this is massive for Yukal.
Now here comes Owner,
but he is caught out.
May need to use
and this is classic Yukal. Carrier predicts the flash, and that's going to be a first blood.
That is going to be first blood going over to Owner. And just a little greedy.
And this is just classic Yukal. Like, takes too much of a risk, tries to get the wave in, doesn't get it, gets ganked. Carrier roams on the Alistar. When I played with Carrier's Alistar, the guy was mid lane every second goddamn wave. Like, insanity amounts of map pressure.
He went up aggressively traded and then pushed super hard while Faker was returning to lane and got caught by two gankers.
Jungle and support dictate the game.
Wasn't able to assist.
AD, mid, and top don't have any influence in high elo.
Still holds on to his.
It's simply, or even pro play. It's jungle and support making plays.
Yukal goes in Viz, tries to use the weirding device space.
Such a good predict with the flash there.
He is quite solid. Puts in the flash cooldown timer into the chat.
Heck yeah.
Goron getting spanked around a little bit on the Rumble, which is expected into the Jace.
Give that information when maybe they just didn't want to press tab. Never mind. Faker now clearing out this wave. Yukal will be able to pick that one up pretty comfortably. I don't feel like it's end of the world for them.
I honestly think Aurora, every time I see her in pro play, is overrated. Do you guys agree or not? Like, I just feel like the champion is not as impactful as some others that you can pick.
No -1s here.
Carrier hovers the support. Andil.
He does use the shifting sands in order to get himself out of the way.
Carrier playing the map really well. Guma swapping to top, not interacting with the Corki too much. Finds himself at a pretty nice advantage. They got the flash out of Andil earlier. Keria used his incredibly well in that gank, obviously. And it's just T1's early map prowess.
Well,
Alistair goes in.
Standing on vision. Does manage to crash down, gets himself away.
I don't think igniting there was the right move by Keria.
Keria pretty high for you on that one. Really wanting to press his ignite button as often as possible.
As UCal wants to do something here, but I don't think it's
going
to
he has slight
happen.
level lead because of how much they've been
Faker doesn't
hovering
have ult.
around
He's
mid.
very far away from it, but still is extremely healthy.
He is keeping the weirding.
And this is what happens every game pro play at the moment.
UCal really making sure he's
At
putting
5
this,
minutes, the
Aurora
bot
through her
laners go
paces
top and the top
as much
laners
as
go
he can.
bot.
Doran has
It's
got
like
the
a late
equalizer,
lane
though,
swap.
right as the
Because they want to
Grubs
try
are
and fight
spawning, but he's
grubbies.
in the bottom lane without teleport, so never mind. That's not going to really pay too much of a difference here. As Owner now in trouble. In the level
Owner's
5,
caught and Owner is
Sponge
dead.
goes
Faker is not
untargetable,
there for the
but Owner's
roam.
very targetable. It's UCal that grabs that kill here as Keria has to get out of there, and these Grubs belong to DRX.
Yeah, if Owner had ult, the situation
They
looks
just had
totally
man
different, but at
advantage.
level
Faker wasn't
5,
there and they tried to
they're simply
contest.
not
Such a big
available,
mistake out of
and
Owner.
He is just completely blasted to death. And that is a kill on the board here for DRX. But as you mentioned,
And that's 2
arguably
stacks
more
on the Dark
importantly,
Seal over to the
Grubs
Aurora.
going over
And
as
all the
well.
Grubs
Grubs
to the
from this year
Neferi.
always feels really good. And the Jace side lane power is definitely a thing that we'll have to talk about later on in this game.
Yeah.
As Owner just goes in onto Andil here without really any support. And it's a Jace here. It was not the most ideal situation for him there. Perhaps just saw blood in the water.
Hey.
The curtains have been
Good
called.
poke, Guma.
The final bullet was not enough to kill him, but did certainly put the fear of God in him. Andil will get knocked up, but does Shattering Strike Owner here as well. Andil just really wants to make sure this Brambleback goes over to its rightful jungler, and that looks to be something that
Nice
he will
little timing
achieve. So
window
nice
there
little
for Owner, but the support stops
Faker
it.
hitting level 7 here in the mid lane, and just
Andil has to be careful he doesn't get killed, but
Azir critical mass.
They're really trying to play through the fact that Faker has a lot of control right now. Owner has level 6. And they're getting a lot of value out of this. Doran coming over as well.
Yep, Doran getting
Faker red as well.
And there's just no cross map here. It's just a losing battle. DRX are trying to contest, but are finding nothing. And T1 just get a lot of pressure done. Take the Raptors, come over here, pull this red buff back. And they don't see Teddy right now, but they can reasonably assume he's heading back towards the bottom lane. And will be seen there in just a moment. And they just get away with this. You could see a rotation over for Sponge, but there's nothing really to grab. They'll only get the Raptors in return.
Yeah, so he will be able to grab the enemy Raptors, so there's at least an even trade there.
He's on a ward, so Faker knows that he's there. Owner can come back up and protect, so Faker's not in any
No
danger
early
either.
dragon.
Yep,
He's
red
going
buff
to try and
is
protect his
spawning
red
right
buff.
now, so Owner is making a beeline over there. And now the
Doran
equalizer
looking for
is
the
coming
1v2.
down. Andil gets out of the way of it. Him and Teddy running away from one rumble is a little bit of a worry, but there was an Alistair.
And Neferi wasn't able to steal away the red on the enemy side of the map.
Play it safe.
Feels really good if you are the
Doran's
solo
really
top
having a
laner
strong
and
1v2
so
here. Has
duo
flash,
here
can play
winning
aggressive.
Oh, Carrier going for it
And
once again.
they've found
Here's
UCal.
Trying to use his wall here.
And you
it
can't
does manage to
ult
do
the
so in the end.
UCal,
Even
like,
Carrier
there's
taking
nothing you can do with
a
the
lot of
zero ult there to
damage
save
in
it.
trade.
UCal pops ult
Putting
and then
that ult
goes into the
on
max
cooldown.
range and pops
Big deal
back.
here.
Very good
UCal and Faker
escape
both getting their
mechanism for the
teleports back
Aurora.
online momentarily. UCal
Terrific,
just got his
really.
flashback as well. Didn't have it for that exchange, but didn't need it because he could utilize his ultimate. But yeah, getting the ult cooldown feels really nice. Not going to be useful for the next big fight, which could have potentially been over this dragon. We haven't had the dragon taken by either side just yet, but with the, UCal losing his ult, Faker having some prio here, it's definitely looking T1 favored at the moment for that first objective, or the first major objective.
Yep, we need to see DRX sort of make something happen. UCal, that was very satisfying, but now the Drake
doing,
has been
Newman?
started.
It's just so tough without the Aurora ult to make a fight happen here.
Free dragon
Yeah.
set up.
Doran now Sponge throwing some daggers around. Doran was on the mind because he's in the top lane without
Didn't I
equalizer
used to call
available.
myself the sponge, the
So won't
precious,
be
the
able to
precious
affect
sponge
this
because of how much
fight here,
pressure I soak?
As UCal once again
This guy's
softening
stolen
up
my
there.
name. He's gonna
on
try and
level
steal the
4,
dragon, and he
as that's a
does
steal
get
from
it.
Sponge. And Owner now trying to get out of there. but I don't know whether he's
Absolutely
gonna be able
massive
to. They just
steal, and
closed
Rich
the
is here
gap
as well for
on
the
that
fight.
classic
Faker goes
Faker.
in, hits a
Looks
one-man
for the
ultimate
Empress
over
Domain,
onto the
gets
Fury.
it.
He goes
Sponge
untargetable.
goes
Kiri
untargetable,
goes in.
flashes from Carrier. Carrier will
And
be
he
taken down.
absolutely
Eternal gets the
ints it.
kill, but
Can
now
the
he's
Jin Curtain
right
call
on
get
top of
anything?
his
1, 2,
teleport.
3,
The curtains,
4.
they've been called,
Doesn't go
land onto Sponge
long
for the
enough.
last bullet, and it's highway robbery.
And Doran TP's in for nothing. And Teddy's up here going
Absolute
thanks for the freebie.
net positive
Is Sponge the
equation
best Neferi
coming out from DRX there. They take the gold lead, dragon
that was a
lead.
fantastic
Grub
steal
lead.
from him, and he played the team fight out so incredibly
Looking
well,
absolutely
too.
amazing for
Gets
DRX
out,
in the early
nobody
game.
dies. As look at Sponge here, he's on vision.
Great
comes
steal.
in
Look
here,
at the timing
drops
of this,
the first
lads.
Q. Owner not able to secure the smite, and then ults Owner. And as the turn comes through, they're looking for Owner. He's got Crescent Guard up. Faker hits the Neferi, but then Sponge
Solid
just
ultimate.
presses
Rich had to
W,
flash.
goes in for
But
the
Carry
play.
goes
There's
in
too many
level
people to
4,
block the
man.
Jhin
Like,
damage,
you're just going to
so
get one
Sponge
shot.
gets
Everyone else is
out,
level 6,
and then
7,
the
8.
ult is blocked again here, so Guma just unable to get anything, and Doran TP's in for nothing. And Sponge, man, he
That is a
just
disaster
the
for
most
T1.
successful Robert the Bandit.
Oh,
Of this
100%. Sponge, absolutely fantastically played. But Carrier almost killed. Like, if Sponge hadn't have flashed that headbutt pole, that would have been like one of the classic Carrier God plays, you know? Gets the 3-man
They need
knockup,
these
then
next
all of
two
the
grubs.
AoE is layered. Doran might actually get there in time. Oh, it's a bit
I don't even know if they're going to get a single grub.
Now for DRX as well.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
they get Dragon, they're looking for more.
Well, Carrier only level 5 here. And Sponge still trying to keep it interesting, but T1 should be able to get 2 of them.
All right,
Good
they
on
secured
target
2.
there
It's
is
not
Andal.
too
He's got other
bad.
things on his mind. Shattering Strike comes down as Doran uses a very defensive ultimate. Yukal still doing a lot of damage, though, as we can see, as Sponge is just bouncing around the rift.
TP in by
Another teleport
Faker,
coming
TP
this
in
time
by
from
Rich.
Faker. And Rich has followed suit, looking for
Faker's
an angle
really
here as
deep with his
scuffle
TP,
will
though.
Continue. Faker bleeding for now, but it's Andal that's the target, and he will be taken down immediately. It's traded, though, as Owner. That's a phenomenal ult, but I think he's still dead. The bleed is ticking, and he's still going to be taken out. That is a Yukal with a double.
DRX are looking amazing, and they only got one grub. So it's going to be a 5-1 grub lead for DRX. Yukal stacking the Dark Seal. Faker going for the solo kill gets denied.
Play there from Yukal
Is
as well.
this 2018 LCK Summer Champion Yukal?
It seems like it. And, I mean, with how well Sponge is playing this early
7
game too,
stacks on the
DRX
Dark
looking
Seal is
fantastic.
absolutely
Another plate is gonna go
crazy
over,
for
and Yukal
Aurora.
holds his
She should
ult
be able to snowball the
until
game
the
off of these
fight over
guys.
the Grubs, and Faker has
Any good
committed his way
Aurora,
in. We have all the
1k
TPs
gold
coming
lead, like,
through. Rich
you're
shows up,
snowballing off of this because of
and
the
then he
Dark
drops the
Seals.
TP. He could have ulted
Should be
Dorian,
a one
he just
team
lets
fight
him
every
go. He's
game.
like,
Let's see
just
if
gonna let him go.
DRX
I'll
are
hold my
able to
ult. I'm gonna
throw
use
it.
for the fight because I want this 5v5. Rich is calling.
I
He's
wouldn't
coming
put it
in.
past them.
Faker shows up
Okay?
as well.
If you're a
Faker's in
T1
really
supporter
awkward
and put your
spot
money
here
on
as
T1,
Sponge, because he
I
has
wouldn't
such
get
long engage range,
too
can actually get
down
on
in the
top
dumps
of
yet.
Owner from so far away, and there's
But
just
if they
no
lose the
getting
next
out
fight,
here
then
for
I probably
T1.
would start
A clean
panicking,
fight
okay?
from DRX.
Yeah. Sponge starting to pick up some of these resets in these fights as well. You can see 0-0-3 now does have his Eclipse completed. And the Neferi doing what it says on the tin, or what we expected the tin to say.
That's what I was told was on the tin.
Yeah.
Somebody
The
needs
tins
to
have
help
been a little
Faker,
bit weird. Maybe it's
please.
just baked beans sometimes.
Somebody
As
needs
now
to help
Andal
Faker.
finds himself a cow. Carrier still level 5. And Andal has that Magnet Storm available. They're not going to be using it right
Thank you,
now.
Carrier.
This turret looking worse for wear. As Rich will be able to clear out this minion wave very comfortably.
Doran's going to lose this matchup when
to
Jace is at
threaten.
an item and a
I
half.
like that DRX decide not to hard force there.
It's
on the
actually
top side,
terrible
even
for
though the
T1.
turret's super low. They don't know where Guma is, and they just decide to back away.
I mean, feats of
T1
strength are basically theirs, so I
Yeah.
don't think they really need to worry about it too much.
Yeah. I mean, they can also just continue to push this as
Oh,
T1
minus
reset.
1 in the chat. Oh, Yukal's going to basically be behind Faker.
Look at Yukal's gold lead.
Feats of
Yeah,
strength,
even
by the
CS,
way.
so 3 kills now, first break.
And full local gold for first brick. There it goes.
Yeah.
Now 1.5.
I think that's feats
This
of
is
strength. Did they
wild,
get it or
what
not?
we were
First
watching
tower,
right now.
and they've got
I mean,
all the
it
objectives.
is just DRX looking way better.
Yeah, they look
And
like a really good team.
Yeah, I love this. And we were having this conversation, right? Like, which team in the LCK is actually the struggling team? We saw even B&K taking a game off DK yesterday. Yeah, it was, I mean, there's an asterisk or 2 there because DK will
Any
pull
team
through.
can
A little
win, my
bit
dude.
weird. I think there are a few teams like Bro is struggling in the LCK at the moment,
Bro
but
suck.
I do feel like the level of competition hasn't been this high in the LCK for a really long time.
Certainly.
Oftentimes there's like a clear split between like the top 4, top 5, and the rest of the pack.
I mean, B&K
War with
almost
the
took a game off
Malignance
Genji,
into
last
probably
day,
what
LCK
looks to
Cup,
be...
right? It feels
Normally
like
you
anyone
can go
can
either
beat anyone on
Shadow
the best
Flame or
day,
Hourglass.
As Doran should be fine here, but good pressure
Rich
from
picks up
Sponge
the
as the Dragon
Spear
has
of
spawned,
Sojin.
and DRX are faster
I
grouped
believe
here on
Rich's
the bottom
brother
side, but
is
they
one of the
don't
best
have
StarCraft
control.
players to ever played a game.
Sponge going to get poked out here. We have to remember T1
I'm
do
not
have
mistaken.
scaling on their side. So DRX need to keep
As
up
they
the
set
pace.
up
And yes,
for
they're
the
winning
second
now, but it's only
dragon.
by 1.2. So
Small victories.
we're singing their praises while we can. Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
we'll see
Sponge
if
get
that
another steal
continues
is the
to
question.
be singable. For the moment,
SpongeBob
though, T1
loves this
in a really
steal.
nice position.
And Nefiri is freaking terrific at getting it. I think T1 needs to try and turn the fight before the Aurora and the Corky poke them out.
These daggers are not connecting. Rich on that flank angle, but he's on that ward. And
as the engage from Rel is denied.
Still Carrier taking a lot of damage. That is going to be the Drake going over to Ona. Somehow that shock blast is actually going to miss. That's going to force Rich to flash away. Some decent damage here from the Between Worlds, but the answering deadly flourish is too good.
Damn, good shit, Faker.
Straight over to the
Rich was a Heroes of the Storm Pro. That's who I'm thinking of.
That was definitely
and then he transitioned to League. Yes,
bit of an ambitious play.
And then Guma's brother is the pro.
Sometimes they work out, and often they
T1 is so back here.
Working out and backfiring in a big way, and Ona
T1 is so back.
Is able to
Dragon secured, kill under the fucking goat.
Faker's flourish, but of course the flourish helping him clean up that kill. Great play
from
Carrier.
Carrier didn't deny that renegade.
Just push on dog, because if that ends up being a big Magnus storm, maybe they can follow up on that UCal ults that group instead of ulting here. And I think at this point, the fight is clearly over.
Well, there's an Emperor's Divide. Rich cannot go to the skies because he's been to the skies recently. UCal is going to come down and see what he can do here. As
nice, UCal. He's going to get a double kill here, guys.
Turret sets up his own, but I think UCal will have enough damage to
fake
finish
it flashed.
This off. It's going to take a bit of time as he flashes as well. Finally,
he gets the double.
And that's a double kill for the guy that just died.
Hectic early game. Hectic.
There.
Almost feels like for so much of this series, you could flip a coin on a UCal play. You don't know how it's going to go, but it's starting to feel like a bit of a weighted coin. He just keeps coming up with victories here as Rich comes over here to try to defend this turret. This is, some
I believe he went for that underneath the tower with UCal. I guess Faker was not going to be able to get out regardless.
He lives long enough to where this ends up being a double for UCal. The electrocute proc is actually what does Doran in. Sadly for him, and then Faker kills the turret, sets up the Sun Disc, but unfortunately there's just not enough time to survive here. Even with UCal taking that turret aggro, it doesn't do that much damage.
Yeah, getting the bone plating at the right timing there as well for Faker keeps him alive for that one extra auto attack, but the Sun Disc doesn't do enough, so...
Still 1k gold lead for DRX.
Completed for UCal and the Shadow Flame.
All the gold is on UCal, and he's gone for a Shadow Flame, Malignance.
Nazir. I think he's very happy to side lane into a Rumble.
He will not be losing at all in the side lane.
As well.
He won't be losing in the side lane at all.
And augmented Sork shoes with the feats of strength.
Yeah.
He's about as big as an Aurora can be at 17.5 minutes in.
Ooh, Deadly Flourish just barely missing here as Sponge throwing his daggers, both of them into Ona, that bleed. That nerf needs to come in, because it just feels like it does a whole lot. Not going to be able to find that dagger. There, though, is Deadly Flourish now onto Ted. He's going to have to get out of here. Does use the barrier. And Sponge tanking a few of these shots up.
That went straight through Nefiri.
Welcome back, Guma. He's doing a fair bit of damage here on his Jhin. As Rich, with that W in range form, we'll be able to do a fair bit of work to this turret, but not if Doran turns up, clears out the wave and the Jace at the same time.
DRX have hella damage with the comp.
Doran and does a little bit of extra damage.
Oh, bro, their comp's fine. They have plenty of damage.
Significant damage does occur, and
but if they can't execute,
lead right now. It's
T1. It's just like T1's comp, like Azir kites, Sinzia peels, then you got Rumble Jhin to finish. Like it's T1's comp is great too. I think they're two good comps.
Expectations
coming to this series is what throws me off because I don't know how the fuck that champion even plays out.
Right, but so far they've been making these fights really, really close. They've been winning some of them. UCal's having a fantastic game. They're playing the map well, but is it well enough? Is it a big enough advantage to overcome what is going to be a late game scaling Faker is the question. Right now he's 1,300 gold ahead individually. UCal, that is to say, well, the rest of his team needs to follow suit as this Nefiri is going to struggle to kill targets later on. She doesn't get super accelerated.
Yeah, I would say so.
And she's behind as well.
Now building towards the Black Cleaver, which will be coming in relatively soon. But Ona does have the Sundered Sky already. Gumayusi now with his rapid fire cannon done. A little bit of a hybrid build here on the Jhin.
Does Nefiri still fall off?
Decide to build in. Just feels a little
kind
bit like he just doesn't quite know which direction he wants to go in.
It would be hard to play at like 25, 30 minutes.
Is something that's going to work out relatively well.
Still playable, though.
Herald trying to come in here, and that is going to successfully happen. It doesn't do too much more than that.
He has been hitting a lot of shots.
Herald does nothing
so far. They haven't secured too many eliminations just yet, but the accuracy has been quite nice on his flourishes and on his curtain call. So that's a good sign for what the rest of these team fights can look like later on when he's got this big
Ghostblade
front line
rapid fire.
of the Xin Zhao. He's got the Azir to peel for him, and Alistair to peel for him. He's got Zeke's as well.
Is this the
online.
standard Jhin build?
Looks like Rich is going to
I
finally
swear
take this
I
trade
see
down.
like a collector one, a Shiv one. I see a
have
bunch of
some
different
River Vision. I
Jhin
think he
builds
certainly
getting
can
around.
commit to it.
Yeah, he's pinging, and Andal is going to get headbutt pulved. Will need to get out of here, I think, and does do so. T1 will let him live for the minute. Speaking of letting things live, Rich is going to not let the turret live. We'll take that one down. The rest of T1 a little bit slow in the rotation, won't be able to stop the Jace after he does manage to do that. So just a little bit more
So
money
Faker
going
has
over
a
to DRX,
level,
on the
half
back
a
of
level.
that play.
Pretty interesting
And then
build here from Rich as well
Doran
with the
is
Shojin first and
even.
Swifties with the tier
Own is
online,
upper
so he's
level,
gonna go for the Baron
and
on
Carry
second.
is up a level.
Seen this-
Overall level
seen
lead
this
to
a little bit more
T1, which is
recently,
quite
but very different from the
quite
tank builds of
important.
Jace we were watching a lot earlier this year.
It's quite important.
Yeah, the Drake going to be
I'll
taken here
always
by
look
T1.
at
That's going to
levels
be their
when I look
prize.
at like if a team's
after
able to
they
win or
do
not.
Push,
Like
Rich
sometimes
away.
a team will have a 4 level
So,
lead,
one
like it's
away
just
from Soul
insane.
Point here
And
for
the gold
T1.
is like
Once
near
again,
even,
Chemtech
but those
Soul,
levels
there
are
a
worth
lot
so
of
much
Chemtech
gold.
Soul.
There were a lot
in
of
themselves, just from
Dragon
being around in the right
scientists
spots for
that
XP.
did claim that Chemtech Soul was bugged, and that's why we saw it a ton earlier this year. I assume that's been fixed, but I don't know. Man, I'm starting to question with how many we've had already
Yeah.
here in LCK 2025, but perhaps the next patch will bring us some more fire and earth and wind and all of that. It'll get a little bit
more Captain Planet.
Yeah.
That's what we're requiring here.
UCal, like many mid laners we've had so far in this first week of LCK, is the guy, right? We saw it with Vikla, we've seen it with BDD. He's got the money, he's got the tools to carry.
He's the guy. He's the
already
guy.
in such a good position. He just needs to win
Is he the
those
guy,
fights now
though,
with the money
sir?
he has. And I think that if he can win 1 or 2 more big fights before T1 really get this Azir fully online, DRX can win this game. But it's going to be on the back of his shoulders, and he's
Nice moves,
definitely
nice poke.
bracing his shoulders right now.
Yeah, it's looking at those shoulders look pretty good. There you go, nicely done. Doran with 2 items now completed. Haven't seen too much Bloodletter's
2
Curse
items on
here
Rich
in
is
the
big.
LCK, but is able to complete that one. We'll be able to shred some more
Bro,
of the magic resist, and that'll help
He's
Faker
gone,
out. And so that
he's
feels
gone that
nice.
one item,
Faker, who
the blood
just now
setter. What
got
is it
his
called?
Nashers as well.
On the Rumble.
2 item spikes coordinated between the solo lanes.
Feeling very good about what their next few fights could look like. 2.5 minutes until the Herald, which is where T1 at the moment are mostly grouped. Still a ways away, of
Jhin
course,
with the
but
frickin'
trying to
steel
put some pressure
caps.
on that turret to give them a little bit more space.
Like
up
T1
there
comp better, I
would be
believe
ideal.
T1 win.
But T1 also don't want to force any
Yeah, the
unnecessary
Jason
fights
and Fury
now,
are going to be
even
very
though 2
bloodletters.
items
That was cool.
online here
Jason and
for,
Fury are going to be very hard to
the
play.
Azir, still a
late
scary
game.
position into this
Like
super
Rumbles
fed
in
Aurora
Zao are
right now.
such simple, easy to
And the Fury's
execute
sitting on 2 items
champions.
as well, so I think they'll maybe look for a pick if they're going to look to try to take any further control of that top side.
Yeah, Sponge was actually waiting to see whether Doran was going to move up. Doran doesn't, and so therefore not going to find any joy there. Arakan still
Go
unavailable.
DRX.
As the captive audience
You're a
is
DRX fan, bro.
delivering this mid lane, as we can see. Yuka will be
They're looking way better than I expected.
It does feel like Rich has kind of been able to do whatever he wants this game. He did get punished the one time, but it wasn't really a true punish because obviously there was the UCal double that followed it. And he's just been able to sit down here, took the turret out, has been able to free push and free farm. He's 300 gold behind Doran, who's up 2 kills on him, but he is a 2-item Jace now.
Yeah.
And, you know, his poke with the Nefiri to follow up, the Corki to follow
I
up.
think this
with the
Nefiri's
Aurora,
gonna
that's
get behind,
insanely
bro.
fed. It feels like he just kind of was
DRX have
allowed
too many melee
to
range
push up
champs.
far in these lanes, and there was no answer.
They are quite short range. You
I
are
think
right.
these Nefiri resets.
Good analysis.
should be
They
more
are quite
possible
short
with a
range.
composition like the one DRX has put together. In comparison to what we saw in our previous series from KT, I think that this might be able to work. We'll just have to see right now. Andal once I've seen this one before.
They keep almost killing him.
Yeah, he's going to crash down over that wall again after the ignite comes in, but this time Owner is going to follow. He presses ult, wind
Damn,
becomes
they're almost
lightning.
gonna kill the,
Bullets become attached to Teddy.
shit.
And
Can they
Andal's
set up
gonna
the
work his
Atacon
way
yet
out.
or
So
not?
ultimately, it is just the same result.
It's a flash taken away from Andal, which is pretty big for Aurel. So that's a trade-up, I would say, for T1, but it's not enough to secure them this topside turret necessarily because they just don't have push up there.
Minute and a half on the Chemtech Drake, but there is also a Baron coming up.
Yucal?
This is Yucal. Oh,
Yucal,
there's another
you
headbutt
can't
ball.
die here,
Carrier
bro.
really wanted to pick up player
You
of the
can't
match
die
today,
here,
and,
bro.
I'll give it to him. That's going to be Owner taking
That
down
death
the kill
there
off
costing the
back of
game, and that's
cow.
why
Just on
Yucal
a ward there, and now
has
they
always
get whatever
had
they
faults
want.
in
They
this
want
game
Herald,
since,
they want
like, for the
Atacon,
last
they want this
5
top
years.
turret.
Getting picked like that costs
which is a
them
bit of a scary choice.
fucking everything,
Carrier
dude.
coming in, looking for it again. As Sponge going untargetable. Rich with some shock blast angles potentially. That equalizer, great spot, but Faker just wipes them off it. Andal trying to stay alive.
That is the worst Azir I have ever seen Faker
Teddy
do as
coming
well.
up here. Rich has this turret to play through.
Oh, God. Well, can the shock blast actually land? That's the question. The answer is no, because he's going to be dead. Carrier diving in one more time.
And that's a GG, ladies and gentlemen.
Teddy,
Just way better
doggos
coordination
is,
from
gonna be in a
T1.
bit of
Small
trouble as Carrier is
misplays
down
and
to 1
mispositions
health,
out of
but he
DRX.
is still able to walk his way out. The flash comes in from Teddy, and that should still keep him alive. Okay,
Oh, Ucal takes out the jungler is big though.
That might mean that Otacon is going to be okay. Deadly Flourish coming on in here as the 1-2 punch, and it's a double. Teddy, I don't know about that one though. The captive audience goes off.
Gumayusi!
He was dead. Guma just comes on over and punishes. Andal's back up one more time.
I mean, that guarantees there's no real ability to actually Otacon without
There's no
the
Otacon.
jungler.
They want to try and set up Dragon now, I
taking
think.
out Owner there, taking out Doran really limits your opportunities here. They can't get the turret
That was
either.
crazy damage by
Ucal
Ucal though.
By DRX as they try to come over here and deny. They don't have a lot of vision.
Watch Faker's Azir ult and question what happened there.
Go into this choke point. It's a fantastic equalizer.
He misplayed.
To stop the
Faker
retreat
flash
here.
and ulted them the wrong way.
Tries to hold turret here because there's nothing else he can do. Teddy comes up and tries to save him. If Ucal is like 10 seconds faster on dying, you know, if he's
absolutely
up, he can
trolled
actually
it.
win a fight here maybe, but instead Rich just kind of dies. And then Owner over chases. And as we all just saw, unfortunately for him, Ucal is still fed.
Flash QB ult.
And he's a bit of a psycho as well.
Yeah, and they kill Doran, which stops any potential Otacon take, but Teddy does give his life for it, and we reset.
Well, Andal crashing forward, and the curtains, they have been called. Andal, I mean, he's just dead. Sand Soldiers will take him
no
down.
block for him. Like,
Sponge
they just
a little bit
fuck
late
you.
on that on-target
Fuck you,
ability, but
bro.
it might be enough to get himself out of there.
I mean, the fact that T1 has so much vision control over this river right now means that DRX feel compelled to kind of keep trickling in and checking.
What's the point of picking these Jaces if they just always group and don't even go sides and don't even get any pressure?
It's 27 minutes in, but it feels a little bit early.
Well, Guma is trying to follow up on the engage there from Carrier as Teddy gets over this wall, I believe unbeknownst, as he's now spotted.
Ucal is still big.
Oh, okay. Carrier is going to try and get in there. Sponge going untargetable. Emperor's Divide is going to throw Ucal in.
Great ult by Faker there.
Is Carrier likely to go down?
Teddy just W'd into the Baron pit to kill the alley.
Well, not sure what Teddy was doing, and now Owner is going to be able to transition this into
so
a Baron.
grief.
Somehow it works.
Baron goes down,
I have no idea
Otacon goes
how
down.
that all
T1
sort of
Believe
worked
is
into
absolutely
itself, but it's
cheering
just,
right
T1,
now.
I guess, calculated.
I mean, there's just so many objectives to take. There was not a lot of vision for DRX, but I think they really liked that game. Lemmings, do you remember that game where they walk forward? They did a little bit of that because without
just
vision,
stupid
without
gameplay from
these
DRX.
areas,
Like,
they keep
there's
kind of
no
coming forward
other
here
word
with
than
no
just
real
stupid,
setup,
right?
With no numbers advantage. But look at the map. Look at where the
yeah,
Corki is.
Sponge
Teddy's
couldn't block
nowhere
these.
near this. Rich is nowhere near this. They know T1 are likely all in the area, and then they give him another kill. Coming into here, Carrier has ult, so ulting him isn't
The
necessarily
Sponge goes
a good
in,
idea here.
griefs
Sponge
it.
kind of
Ucal
force
gets
press W to get
ulted.
away, but Faker
Watch Teddy
finds
go
the
into the
angle,
pit.
and Ucal
Watch Teddy go into the
almost
pit.
gets kill,
W.
sure. Then Teddy just dives in and to kill a support, and then also dies, and then Baron and Otacon go over. DRX lost control and then doubled and tripled down on trying to fight for it back. And so T1 get the objectives,
So great.
but also get multiple kills worth of gold. And what was a 1,000 gold lead for
Jace
T1
is going
now
to die
a
again
5,000 gold
too.
lead.
Yeah, I think they might also be getting another
Oh,
one,
he
as that was
flashes
really
big.
cute from Rich. Nice flash, avoids the headbutt pole, but still. T1 with all of the control of this map that they would like. Owner going to be able to move on over here and look to take down the red buff, and he will be able to successfully do that as well. Deadly Flourish avoided by Sponge, but man.
I mean, T1 are just the kings of objectives. They're so good at setting up on them, playing around vision, looking for turns. DRX fell right into their trap, and what looked like a fairly risky Baron really wasn't with the control they had. And I mean, I don't know if they might just win the game off this.
Well, Owner once again going in, gets the knockout.
Big ult by Faker. Gumayusi curtain call absolutely snapping onto the Corki.
Faker picking up a kill,
And they're able to use the Voracious.
Carrier tanking as much as he would like. Remember, they have the withdraws at the same time. As Guma not
If
quite
they
able
can
to land
kill
that one,
the
but he
Jace,
flashes
they
forward,
might
and
be
that
able to
should
win the
finish
game.
off the kill onto
And they're all
Rich.
going to withdraw.
Doran realizing that a whole bunch of his buddies are no longer here. Ono not going to actually
Is
get
that even
recalled,
worth? I don't even know if
because he
they
didn't
needed
have
to
a
do that
GA.
to get that
He's got
tower.
3
but
items. This Xin Zhao is so incredibly
I guess they all
large. They take
respawn
the inner
full.
turret and they're going to break open the base.
Yeah, Doran's just looking to grab an inhibitor on his way out here. Ando will be the first to respawn, and he's not going to be the one to say
I don't know what
anything about
Nefiri's
it.
abilities
Look at the angle
do.
here Owner has. Faker is able to follow up so easily.
Well, his
even though
Q has
Nefiri
2 Qs.
dodges the
Q1
initial CC,
like throws
Faker
like a
has the
little
follow-up ult, and
ability,
that is
like a
dead
dog's,
dog.
and then the second one hits and does more damage, and the dogs
I guess all
fly.
dogs go to heaven, but
W, you go untargetable in movement
looking
speed.
to send them there
E,
again.
you do a
I
little
mean,
front flip, and
with the
ultimate, you
withdrawals
dash
that they
all the way
have,
to them, and if you kill them, you get a reset
no
on it.
loss here.
once.
There's no reason
Pretty
not to go
easy
in.
kid, actually.
And that they did. Now they're almost 10,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, this is all of a sudden an extraordinary blowout. And it all happened off the back end of that Arakan Baron play. T1 just controlling the map so well. And Faker now looking for an opportunity onto Yukal. Deadly Flourish connecting somehow. I didn't even see that. Double Pulverize comes through from Carrier. The layering
That ultimate should
of
be
the Equalizer
a little bit
is
more
not
angled,
quite
but
enough, but that doesn't matter. I don't know about the ulti there from Yukal, but I think he was just really scared. And who would blame him as T1 are bearing down on
Chill,
the base
T1.
of DRX. It was a decent try. The early game was okay.
Midbeast Voracious
Yukal
does
kinda
not
got
spawn in
fed,
my solo queue
and then
games anymore.
It mattered about 0.
Neither, bro.
T1
I have not had a Voracious
out
Arakan in years.
Their coordination is matched by very few teams in the world as Teddy is trying to.
You mistaken the
hold
W
wave,
and
but,
R.
he's
I
dead.
mean, he might actually kill both of them.
No, I
Doran
didn't.
comes in with a scrap shield, so he's not going to die. As Faker was almost bleeding to death, but he's got some honey fruit here.
Nefiri
And,
just
when
got
you look at
reworked,
how
buddy.
this game really turned
I'm on the
its head,
new
it's just a
patch,
few
you're on the old.
mistakes from DRX, and T1 is a team that will punish those incredibly hard and take everything. You know, this was a game that looked playable, looked winnable.
Don't doubt
and it
me,
wasn't
bro.
about
I
scaling.
play this game
it
for a
wasn't about
living.
like suddenly, okay, T1 are scaled. It was just DRX making some mistakes, playing too greedy, and then instead of just saying, all right, this is really unfortunate, we lost control of the Baron pit, they just kept
Can I be
going
honest,
in
guys?
one by one, giving T1 not only the
I
Baron
don't
and
like
the Otacon, but
Doran,
several
bro.
kills.
Like, I watch his
and the gold
gameplay,
lead
and it
the
just
map
never
balloons away
wows
from
me
you
like
after that.
Zeus.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
made a
Teddy,
mistake.
you know,
He at least has some damage.
That's one. I
The
mean,
wind becomes lightning, and the Valkyrie actually does a lot.
it was cool. I mean, he played well. You know,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of AD carries just fall
Teddy's
over and
just
die
having
there.
fun.
At least he was able to get one
Let
back.
the-
Doesn't
let the
necessarily
guy-
matter
let
in
him
this game.
play.
You see all the
Let the boys
red
play.
Arrows pointing to T1 with big numbers next to them.
Really big numbers.
I mean, look, Yukal was the smallest number, but remember how big of a lead he had before.
3.4k for this
3.5K
Xin Zhao.
as
Has
far as
Nefiri been the
Ono's
most
advantage is concerned,
overhyped,
is really telling us some
overblown
things.
new pick?
This Xin Zhao
Every
is
time
a
I
huge
watch it
problem.
play,
Ono
it's
is
trash.
so incredibly good at this champion. It's good to see that.
Every time
what
I
we were
see
saying
dog,
earlier
I go,
on,
dog.
It's kind of
Like,
exemplified
crazy.
by the way that he's played this one out so far. And welcome back, Gumayusi. After 3 months of
KDA.
not playing, this guy is looking real good. Has augmented those first couple of items that felt underwhelming with an Infinity Edge and a Lord Dom. So he's doing
Gumayusi
plenty
is
of damage
really
now.
Gumayusi.
Doran might need to be a little bit careful, I guess, but maybe he also doesn't. As Ona goes in, almost 3 taps Sponge.
Wow, look
Gets
at this
in another
Nefiri
couple, and
pick. That's
Faker
so
is the one that
amazing,
actually
bro. You're
finishes
so
it off
good on
in the
that
end.
pick.
Equalizer just to celebrate as Carrier looking for a bit of an angle here. He'll be able to get there, and my God, the damage of this Xin Zhao is obscene.
End
it's
the
actually
game.
Gumayusi that finishes off a bunch of these kills. Doran, maybe move a little bit further out so you don't die to the Nexus turrets, but it doesn't matter.
Victory
It's
to
an ace.
T1.
That's going to be
Did
the
any
Nexus
of you
going
guys start
down, and
sweating in the
T1
early
in their
game there?
first game
I actually thought
looking
there was a
pretty
fair
good.
chance T1 were going to
There
lose.
were some space.
And
Ari, it is
Yukal,
gonna be the
Ari,
so
Talia
it's
for
another
Faker
champion,
here.
Brock Electrocute.
Talia
right,
or
Talia,
Silas
yeah.
go?
Oh,
But
it's
it's
Silas.
Silas.
Is dead. Never mind. That is.
I told you Faker today is playing
Azir,
Azir, Ari, or Silas. I literally said those 3 champs. I said them.
I'll be honest with you. If you take the nameplates away, I feel like DRX has a giga draft gap here. Like,
Let's jump onto the rift and break this down. Game 2 coming in hot.
Like, you know, Brian Cox can read anything to me, and I'm psyched about it.
is Polaris or Faker a bigger star?
I think it's Faker.
I think so. Sorry, Polaris.
Yeah.
You may have guided a lot of ships, but Faker has certainly guided a lot of ships, you know what I mean?
If Faker was to blow up, would it be larger than Beetlejuice exploding, which is apparently something that is happening currently, although is it happening currently? Because maybe we're just getting the light from it now, and that means that it's actually happening in 1 billion years or something like that.
Or ago.
Yeah, this is like, maybe we shouldn't be talking about that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Again, really finding the angles. There's that electrocute that you were
Nice
talking
early
about,
lane by
Wolf.
UCal. Faker's been
Already
struggling in the
trading
first
very
3-4 levels in these
He's got,
matchups.
you know, another matchup where he has some early game agency. The Ahri has the range advantage and is one of the easiest champions to proc electrocute on, especially into a melee. So he is just going to seek those advantages, and so far has gone well for him. This time not as much of a disaster for Ondil at level 2 either in the bottom lane.
Well, not going to be too worried about that chain lash is UCal. So the priority that they do have is certainly working out as far as this mid lane is concerned. Mirrored jungles here as well, as we can see. Ona now moving over towards his red buff, but so is Sponge. Doran pulled back here as Rich having a pretty good time.
Rich plays a
little
really
bit
good
like the skill
Aatrox.
from Xenoblade Chronicles X-Wolf
Oh,
in this skin.
I knew
As
you were gonna do it.
Andal shows him the door. Not too much else going to come of it.
Oh. Yeah, no. Trying to get that bite. Not quite there.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to talk when they're doing stuff.
Well, I don't know.
I was kind of holding my breath. I'm like, wait, is something gonna happen?
It looked like something might occur, but you know, we didn't want to overdo it, so we had to just give it the pause. Just, ooh, see the double up doesn't hit, you know.
Ooh, okay. Faker not going to be backing right now, as Volley will pick up the cannon, so no -1s in chat. Keep those out. As Andal's going in. Okay, finds the Winter's Bite onto Gumayusi.
Chill, bro.
Stun not coming. Teddy unable to walk up far enough. Still no real punishment here. as Zona's going to move in. That's Sponge that locks that one down.
Nice, Sponge.
Yeah.
Quite
good use
early.
of
Way
the
early by
Heartbreaker there
Ona.
from Sponge just to try and avoid some damage from the resonating strike. Nicely done. And
like-
Foxfire is making Faker's life quite difficult, but he will be able to go back. Should be a-okay. You can see only 4.
DRX have really good
Like that
lanes,
is-
dude.
Oh dear, Doran in a little bit of trouble. One more, and the flashes need to be traded. Doran will survive.
Doran
but this is looking dicey. Why
sucks.
did you walk up?
Oh my
Why
God,
did he
no
walk?
way.
Oh god, if there was another passive proc.
If he died, I would have lost it.
Yeah.
I mean, actually lost it.
Thankfully, Wolf gets to stay on the desk because
I may have said bad words. He has the perfect flash to the Q3 there of Rich, and it just walks right back in. Yeah, I mean, he was trying to showcase the release diff in terms of the release date of the champions, but definitely playing a little bit close to the sun there.
yeah, oh, more cosmic vibes with the chat, with the conversation here, Wolf. You love to see it,
Yeah.
keeping it relevant. Faker is still yet to teleport back. Does manage to pick up the cannon here as Andal's
Get
moving
out
up.
of there,
Could
bro.
actually just mean a plate going on over to UCal. And with one more minion here, there it goes.
You very rarely see like a pre-5-minute lane dominance played, but every now and then,
Yeah, pretty
you're
good.
able to pick it up. UCal
UCal have
used his whole
200.
mana bar, isn't able to get kill pressure on Faker, but pushes him back enough to where he's going to have the free back here as well as that plate. So once again, laning so well that he's generating a pretty big gold lead. It's almost a kill's worth of gold that he's got in the advantage right now.
Yep.
And we're reminded as well of the fact that, you know, this was another champion on the list of rich champions. It was Gnar, Jace, and Aatrox, and Lucian when he made his debut. And it just shows that his Aatrox is still looking pretty good.
Yeah.
As fighting against Doran here. That time, able to avoid the third Q. And Doran trading nicely there. So Caster Curse in full effect. Chronicler would say that they're not real, but I'm pretty sure they are. That was just proof.
I mean, I think we've had quite a few of them to showcase that it's actually a real thing.
Yep, it is.
We are looking to potentially have a big skirmish here around these grubs, as unfortunately for Faker, he has no prio here. Is sitting at full health and can steal the Ahri ult to zoom over, but looking pretty good for DRX going for the contest here. Teddy is level 4 though.
Faker old
Faker's
steal?
stolen away an ulti here, as UCal could be in a bit of trouble, but the charm will land.
Why?
Sponge moving over, only level 5.
Is that to get mid lane prio for the grubs?
Oh dear, okay. Still, that doesn't mean that Sponge can press an R button because he still doesn't have that one available. One grub has now been taken as carrier looking for a grand entrance angle. The charm goes wide. That could
Nice.
spell the end for UCal, but still looking for an angle. Flash out from Sponge.
Nice,
As Guma
T1.
level 5, but does have that make it rain to slow him down. And DRX not able to get any joy when it comes to these grubs.
I don't
T1
think you
should be
can
able to
contest
go
this,
back and grab
DRX.
the
Run
third one
away.
if they would like it.
Man, that tempo hijack from Faker was actually insanely high value. Just pushes UCal away. They're able to get the faster group there. And it's just moments like that where you're like, sure, 200 gold down, doesn't matter. Is Keria...
He's just going in. Ona might be able to take away the blue buff, but no, early smite there. As once again,
Oh my god,
Sponge
bro.
looking for an angle, but Andal just gets himself out with the flash.
Great flash from Andal, because if he doesn't flash at that exact moment, he might get insect. Which would have been...
Faker just ulted there for pressure to get UCal low. Then he can get agency and move into the river. Vi almost caught him, but no damage.
Splat on the windshield kind of situation.
Yeah.
But he flashed it. It's okay. He's good.
Yeah. So no insects.
3 grubs over to T1, guys. Big.
He is down his flash now, though. And no kills in the situation, but I feel like T1 played that incredibly well. Faker down on CS, down on gold, like I was saying, but makes the play to end up getting a positive trade onto UCal that allows T1 to hold that aggro.
Oh, dear. Sorry, Andal. Getting a ward in and isn't actually going to get punished. I was a little bit worried there, but you could see that UCal had roamed up from the mid lane. And Carrier thinking about trying to find an angle here. Winter's Bite coming on through. Connects onto the Rakan as they turn their
early
attention
heal.
to Gumayusi. Level 6 now picked up.
Carrier is like
Teddy
always
with the
just
arrow.
using summoners on cooldown.
Arrow as Guma was channeling, but they don't commit. That was scary. He does have cleanse, of course.
He would have just
Yeah,
cleansed.
getting that cooldown still would have been worth.
Yeah.
Probably wanting to look for perhaps a different
More guaranteed
The
opportunity.
dragon is up and available, so
Yeah.
maybe a fight around there could have been an option.
I mean, Andal is playing super aggressively this game. This is the kind of confidence we really didn't see from this guy on the Freaks. He's just really looking like, he's ready to scrap at any moment. He's trying to extend this early game Braum.
The only lead that T1 I really have is on the MF.
Straight in on the owner.
Rest is even.
Trying to cause some chaos there. Doesn't end up leading to any kills, but, T1 is a very high bar that you set, so plays like this looking good is...
Whoa.
Oh, it's
That was
close.
a pretty good arrow.
Hit
So
it.
he connects. Nailed it. Onto owner.
Straight on the owner.
accurate.
Nice
Yeah.
work, Teddy.
Just watching DRX play this well in this early game against an incredibly strong team is giving you hope that there's massive improvements that have been made.
100%. And they've been doing a lot of studying. It was something that Sponge actually said in an interview talking about the fact that they had studied a lot of what the top teams have been doing. As Rich worked out killing the 80 carrying the
Chill,
top lane
Guma.
1v1 is a good way to do it. Pulls Gumayusi back, but he is able to survive.
It doesn't go for a flash play or anything like that, knowing that Guma also has his flash available and has that turret there. Andal, in the mid lane, trying to make something happen, gets his ult hijacked. Faker just drops that one down. Nothing occurs there, really.
What's the best ult for
It's
Faker
one
to
of our
steal?
longer
Vi,
first
right?
bloods.
Yeah, this one's taking a while.
Or is it
Things
just
are
Ariel?
extraordinarily
Ariel's pretty
even.
OP.
Three
He actually has
grubs
good
over
ults
T1,
everywhere.
but that is it when it comes to the objectives. Owner looking to augment that with a dragon at the same time, but now Sponge has an R button. Presses it. The charm is going to be found here, and this is the Ari Vi combo. Not a lot Faker can do. Goes down very low, but
Faker.
Carrier not enough to save him, and he's going to have to flash to safety as well.
Bit of a noob
DRX,
play there. He
I mean,
loses a
this
lot.
Duo doing exactly what it says.
Tank
on the
Ari,
tip.
by the way.
Looking really clean, looking really good. And Faker was able to, with Carrier's help, at least deny UCal the kill.
Okay, Doran still able to offer a bit of damage back in that trade.
Don't know if Doran can quite stick this dragon just yet.
Whoa, Rich really finding a few of these combos.
There's not a lot of killing happening in this game, but there's certainly a lot of trading and aggression.
Yeah, certainly things are happening.
Yeah, I think it might be a ruinous game, with all the damage. No, not quite, but...
Ruinous game with like a 9-minute first blood and only 1 kill here at 11
Hey,
minutes.
some of the damage done in lane and skirmishes does add up.
And it is worth more now, and that's why we are actually seeing more of the Ruinous outcome.
It's not happening. But, yeah, interesting early game here as Rich will use his Q this time to clear the wave.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if Rich can actually find some value in some of these team fights as well, because he was playing a lot of melee Jace in the last game and missing a lot of shock blasts from range. So I think now, I mean, this is just better melee Jace. You just don't have the other form, and feels pretty good.
Double Sunder Sky picked up at the same time for top and jungler.
Synergy.
Synergy indeed. Big spikes here for these champions. Rod of Ages, not necessarily a spike right now. We'll get back to you around 21 minutes in.
Yep.
Here for UCal.
I
But,
hate
this is
Roa
the new
Ari,
build,
man.
Which is really, really oppressive. Difficult
Roa
to
Silas,
down.
too.
Allows the Ari a lot more.
They be loving the Roa
aggressive
these days.
Playmaking ability because she can go in so deep without any risk. Nice sidestep from Carrier.
Yep, they are able to now move up towards these grubs. I think this is a situation that Sponge will need
DRX
to try and
need to contest this shit.
Looks like 4 grubs should go over to T1 though.
Faker and Rich both have teleport. Rich has Prio. Could come up here to try to affect this play.
Well, this is a little bit awkward actually, because they are now split.
Hey, Ninja, 20 months
Will
of
be able to
Prime.
wrap around.
Fuck yeah, man. I appreciate that.
Grub is going to reset.
Once
Sponge
UCal
getting into
gets here,
position.
I think T1 need to
Hello
evacuate. They
again,
cannot actually, I mean, they will
Hey,
just be chain
baby.
CC. That single target blow up is absolutely real.
Yeah. So Smite going to be invested here, and it looks like DRX are just going to give up the remaining 2 Grubs. T1 should be sitting on 5 moving into the rest of the game.
Yeah, I
Feels
think
real good.
in terms of a team fight there, if DRX were in position to fight it, they win 100%, but T1 were just playing the map better. They were threatening plates, and DRX eventually had to say, look, they're playing too far back. We can't engage on them, and also we're losing plates, so they had to make the decision to back away.
Ooh, another Smite actually available here for Sponge, so he'll be able to grab the second one, but still 4-2. T1 going to have some Void Mites to help them out, and that's going to be feeling pretty good.
4-2.
Really do like how
That's
T1
solid.
are using
That's still
turrets
objective,
and
I think.
lane pressure to help secure these
4
objectives.
grubs, 1
Gives them a
dragon.
4-2 split. No team fight win for either
That's
side
all you
there,
need.
but T1 didn't overcommit. They respected that single target chain CC and just got plate gold instead, and then pulled DRX back and then grabbed the second one there. Not all 3, of course. Still limited to 1 smite on those, but I thought it was very carefully played.
Yeah. All right, Teddy, back to the mid lane. And let's see whether he has a better time as we crest the mid game here. Teddy, of course, not looking like much at all in game number 1 on the Corki. This time on the Ashe, certainly a lot more high priority pick.
Yeah, he went for the Untals first, which is better than Triforce. Please don't build that. Somebody built that yesterday. I'm not going to name any names. But he is significantly far behind in this game in terms of CS. So you can see that gold lead reflected in Guma, who has his Bloodthirster online, which should give him a little bit more safety to this comp here for DRX. So he's feeling pretty good.
Oh, nailed it.
That
Man,
looked
I was
weird.
worried. I was really worried.
Yeah.
Bro, 1
It's
kill
a
in
very even
14
game,
minutes.
and
Sometimes the
this
LCK
time
is so
T1 doesn't have a
far.
massive scaling advantage like they did
Do
last time
something,
around.
bro.
So the 600 gold lead feels just like a 600 gold lead. It's now a 500 gold lead, but
Yep.
it's only a small advantage. These next few fights are really going to be where the game breaks open.
Ooh,
Sponge with a wraparound.
Oh, dear. Doran could be in a whole lot of trouble here as he's not able to ult his way out.
It's
Good
so
sidestep
easy
there as
to
now Carrier
dodge.
comes in, Vault Breaker right on top of him.
I swear it's so
Gets the
easy to
quickness
dodge
down,
the
and Sponge is
Ambessa
now the
ult.
target. Infernal Chains not really doing too much as Andal. He comes down, nice arrow just supporting the rest of the team as it sails by. Maybe there were snacks on it and they got to pick a snack off the arrow to find some sustenance or something like that.
There was
Otherwise, it didn't do anything.
sustenance.
There was not a whole lot of vision for DRX on the river. I think that's part of why Sponge decided not to ult Carrier there, because he was scared about what it could mean for the upcoming fight. Is Andal?
Yeah, Andal is all the way up, but he's able to stand beside Sponge. And Faker finding some chains here, looking for the solo kill onto UCal, but once again, it's going to be a charm landing. Meanwhile, more fighting here towards the bottom side of the map as the flash over the wall there, and another stand beside me.
Oh my
Here
god.
by
They're
Andal, who's
trying.
going to save his life. Rich kind of hoping that he was able to get in on some of that action. Felt like a fight built for an
They
Aatrox,
dodged
but
ally Ashe ult.
T1
I do that
just
all the
fighting
time,
around
bro.
Rich instead
When you're in
for
dodge
him.
mode, you just in a
Andal is
team fight, you just dodge everything.
The amount of times he's almost died this game, this series, and then gotten away with it has been quite high. He doesn't afraid of anything, Atlas.
Yeah, he's
He
kind of
doesn't afraid of
Yeah,
anything,
he-
Atlas.
He's making me afraid every time, but keeps getting away with it. 0 deaths so far in this one. And gold lead actually swings over to T1 here after that last passage of play. And Owner is going to start this Dragon without really any teammates nearby, but they are rotating over now. Doran does have TP, so...
Oh, UCal's backing and doesn't have teleport, so it looks like it is just going to be a give up on the dragon type scenario.
Potentially first brick here on this dive if they commit.
Yeah.
They won't, though.
So it is just the dragon going down. Mountain Soul this game as well. Feels a little bit better than the Chemtex that we have been seeing so far
Dead
today.
even gold, but T1 is slowly getting like
Rift Herald
the 2
getting started
dragons. I
up.
think it's
Carrier
fine.
in the area. Gumayusi and Ona moving their way over.
Can you
Sonic
fix
Wave
the
gonna
global
go
economy,
wide.
Midi?
And it was some fancy footwork, but now Faker looking to try and take this turret down. And
The turret means feats of strength
Just
for them
don't
if he
check
actually
your
takes it.
stocks.
So
Don't
it's
check
worth
crypto,
if they
bro.
just give this up. TP going to come down to try
Just
to
don't
defend
look.
it.
yeah, so down he goes. Faker should just be able to focus on this, though, and you can see that is exactly what he wants, and there it is. Feats of strength going on over, and the charm is even going to miss. Faker, like, I feel like he has lost lane twice in a row,
He
but
has.
is always the one that
He's
finds
still
the
doing
most
things.
advantages.
I mean, He had a fairly skill-based matchup in Game 1. I mean, it's tough for the Azir, but it is one that you can do better than I think Faker performed on in Game 1. This is a much tougher matchup into the Ahri early. He got bullied, but Faker's the brain guy now. You know, he was the guy who...
Faker's the brain guy.
Yeah.
Faker, look at the moves, look at the plays. He was the hands guy, but now he's just got so much experience. He's the brain guy. He's playing the map. Knows he can TP in if his team sees an angle to commit to that fight, but otherwise can just get pizza strength and turret gold by finishing it off, and that's exactly what he did.
Ooh, Owner and Carrier all diving in. There's a
Oh my god, that was impossible to dodge.
In the blink of an eye, he's just dead. Yeah, you saw the little head movement there, and the player cam, he's just like, well, I guess I'm dead. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there.
Yeah, the problem is there's not really a cross map. Even if they tried to commit to Faker there, he could just hijack and get away.
Well, now it's going to be a 3,000.
I'm a bit of a hands guy myself.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Pulling it out of some big turrets that T1 are killing with their Grub lead.
Still connects.
Nice catch by Owner.
Yeah, it may have missed, in fact. As cease and desist does come on through. Owner.
That Ash arrow got him a kill. That's huge.
The living thing. And Teddy's going to be able to grab himself a kill. That was almost an inner turret taken down.
That feels bad. I actually thought he was probably going to be fine, and now I feel guilty for saying he caught it.
I mean, he did kind of catch it.
Yeah. Okay, going back to this play here, it's a 3-man. Faker's very safe in the bottom lane, so there's no cross-map opportunity. Then they go for the second turret here. Owner, fortunately, dashes back.
50-second CC from Ashar.
Ends up getting caught by it. Then he's in via ult range, and the rest of the team is rotated up, so he gets left to die. And they do not get that inner turret.
Ooh, but Teddy potentially able to get the first turret here for DRX.
So that 3,000 gold didn't quite happen. Good defense there from DRX, but it looked for a moment there like they were just going to fall over.
And actually, DRX are looking to try and pull this one back. Teddy, though, is going to take the majority of his health bomb.
And best of 2 items now.
Not feeling too great about it. Does get a bit of a heal.
And Best is dead.
That's a great charm from UCal, but another public execution as Teddy flashes out of the way and will be able to survive.
Doran sucks.
UCal grabbing that kill. Big deal to try and get some more money onto the Ahri. As Rich not wanting the 1v1 with Faker.
Yeah, I mean, he knows what it's like to be the Faker of bots, and he sees Faker on the other side. Like,
true.
I wouldn't mess with me back then, so I'm out of here. Does just evacuate
Surely he
the
did not
situation,
need to fuck. He did not need to ult there.
So after 2 turns,
who's winning?
narrowly
T1
dying,
wins this,
DRX
but
will
it's
actually
a
bring
sweat.
the lead back to their side, although it is very small. The lead.
Yeah.
Still, it's been a very close game. I don't even want to say back and forth. It's been very measured on both sides.
Rich this time actually managing to find an angle here. And we'll be able to win out on at least that trade. So, yeah, like you were saying, I felt like the gold was ready to balloon completely out of control.
And
it was fine.
It was so saved by that arrow situation.
Yeah.
Like it was a nice attempt from Teddy. Unfortunately, Owner, like, he didn't know the angle. He ended up dying, but that really took a lot of the wind out of T1's sails on what could have been an incredible gold swing there. And then DRX get that top turret, take a small lead themselves. Dragon is up. This is sole point for Mountain Soul for T1. DRX absolutely need to fight over this. It's about a minute away, unfortunately, I think, for UCal's Rod of Ages to complete.
Get it!
But still doesn't have a second item either. Does have an Oblivion Orb, but this is not exactly the territory they really want to fight.
There's the 10.
With. Okay, he got it. Okay, so he was a little bit faster than I thought, so that's big.
Yep, got the tick over, so slight level advantage here for UCal. Good.
No second item for Teddy, but they do have a lot of control over this area. Herald dropped as well. I think T1...
This dragon fight is massive. I think you need to fight it.
This turret seems to be where DRX are
I think you
focused
fight it.
for now. They do need to stop T1 from getting that soul point.
Yeah, and actually the Herald drop made me think the dragon was spawning faster than it actually was. It didn't spawn when they dropped it, so the Herald just got denied and they didn't hold the prio. So T1's still contesting for this.
Yep, and the dragon, we saw it just flap its way down, so you can see there the announcement as Drake has entered the game. 100 gold the difference between the two teams, but 2 Drakes makes T1's game state feel a little bit better than that of DRX right now.
Faker waiting for something here.
Cosmic Drive?
Teleport,
No?
so
Yeah, does manage to get it. So Cosmic Drive now completed. So 2 items.
Wow, they
comes
give
in,
it.
Does have that ahead of UCal.
And interestingly, his Rod is later, so we'll get more value out of the level up he'll get. But unfortunately, he won't be here for this dragon, so it looks like DRX are just simply going to take their first of the game. And with a pretty tanky, high-health Ahri build with some additional resistances, if they keep stacking these...
I think DRX can win this.
Love it.
Yeah, he's going to be able to pick up his Leandro.
I think DRX for sure can win this, guys.
It's going to be a decent spike with the Oblivion Orb also picked up just to avoid a bunch of the healing that they do have available, especially with Bloodthirster and
Silas.
Silas, like owner on the Lee Sin as well. Fair bit of healing in the base kit. And the Gleaming Quill, true, from the Rakan. There are certainly some things there, so I can understand it. There's going to be Phantom Dancer done here for Teddy. Still wants to be build it like a third item. Probably feels the best when you're going for a build like this.
This actually feels like, weirdly enough, Atlas, the most LCK game we've had of the LCK so far. Like everything's super slow, everything's super calculated, no huge errors on either side. Very tactical game, no massive draft gap between the two. Like I said earlier, I feel like you take the nameplates off. Feels like there is one here for DRX, but the way T1 have played this draft so far and how coordinated they are and how well they play the map, it just feels like such an even game. Like everyone has the same pieces on what is an LCK chess game here.
Oh, this may be the difference maker.
Someone's going to get caught.
Dances around the minion wave. Rich will find the sweet spot, but unfortunately is losing out on the trade. Sponge just trying to stay in that fog of war.
Sponge.
Instead,
What a
he
name.
gets a shove up this mid lane. So 2 turrets to 1 is a large reason why things are still so even, with DRX having a few extra kills. Carrier taking a bunch of damage, but he's Rakan, so he is absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's why he took a bunch of damage, but because he's Rakan, it won't be lethal damage. He's getting out of there.
We have a really relevant question that was just asked in our group chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Valdez was wondering, like, because I often say about things written on tins, what does it actually say on the tin? Is we're going to have to hold that thought. Owner.
Go.
Throwing Sponge out of there. Delivered underneath the turret is slightly suboptimal, and immediately Sponge just goes down. Can they get the answering kill, though, as Doran is dancing away from the fight?
Doran didn't die.
On a faker, but he is still looking for more. Chains go wide. Rich still at full health. And
run, bro.
But he's got another dash. The
run.
are coming down, but they're seen on the vision as the quickness dives forward, and there's the bullet time. They
big bullet time.
It was an awkward situation, and the turret is also going to
net
fall.
win.
Ultimately, in the
DRX.
end, I think it was just completely even.
Yeah, it's just a 1-for-1 support for jungle.
And Valdez didn't even learn about what was written on the tin.
Yeah, and I don't even know what tin we were talking. We talked about the Neferi tin earlier, but
yeah, there's a few tins that have been going around. It feels like
DRX got kill and Tau though, no?
Like
if I had like a $10 bill for a Manon, so to speak, basically.
Yeah.
Can these casters stop yapping?
Every time DRX overextended for a play and it ended up backfiring. I'd be able to buy a lot of tins, Atlas. But luckily, this time it's not just a big overextension with no follow-up, because UCal is super mobile, is able to get his way out of here, and the rest of DRX do show up here to help push this turret down. Rich takes a very long time with that.
That's a bold engage by Carrier.
But he does end up taking down Carrier with his squad there. Well, he didn't get the kill, but anyway, they end up taking Carrier down anyway, so it ends up being a trade. I was very worried that DRX were going to hyper overextend and give multiple kills to T1. They do end up pulling it off, grabbing that turret. The game is still even.
Yo, Goff, thank you for the prime.
Make it basically dead even in terms of gold.
Yeah, slight advantage, in fact, here for DRX. And by that, it's like 300 gold.
Yeah, it's even.
Yeah, it's nothing. So Baron has just spawned. It is another case where there's Otacon and Baron here towards the top side of the map. And last time the game was even, and then we had that situation where the Baron and Otacon immediately went down, and then T1 had a 10,000 gold lead out of nowhere, and the game was over.
This time, T1 do not have Baron control. They do not have Otacon control. They don't have full vision in the river. It's, in fact, DRX who have those advantages.
Ooh, Doran finding the opportunity where Rich doesn't have all of his buttons, and then nothing really happens.
How many dashes you got, Aatrox?
Guma CS, 281 at 25.
Yeah.
It's not that wild.
Back then. Yeah, you know, dash around, put up a shield, do all that good stuff. Doran is doing it. I like DRX's chances in this game, because if they can maintain vision control over these objectives and T1 have to fight their way through, there's just so many ways that go wrong. It goes wrong with the, you know, the arrow, etc., etc. We've been talking about all game long with the single target kill potential that DRX have. They're going to clear this vision once again. T1, 20 seconds time until they can fight for soul point here on this dragon. I don't think DRX are willing to trade that for the Baron right now, but
this time it's just soul point, right? As Andal gives them the door, and engaging on this Braum is just not really going to be a possibility. That's what it says on the tin, by the way. It says, don't engage onto Braum.
Yeah, It's true.
And the other side of the tin says Brom is not
Next fight should win the game.
well. It's a multifaceted tin.
We're at that
It's mainly
stage,
about
but
Brom.
when that fight happens, I can't tell
Is
you.
the Surgeon General's warning in this case.
Yeah.
290 CS at 26,
Dragon
not
is
wild.
Spawned. T1 do not have prio in mid.
Not really.
And DRX, I mean, this is their
I would
fight
say
to
like
lose.
330
Sponge
at 27 would be
aggressively
wild.
Picking up the banana brush control.
Teddy needs to be very careful with his positioning. There's a
Pretty
lot
easy
of
on pro
tools
play to
that
accelerate your
T1
CS.
can use to get on top
Especially
of
on
him.
a champion like MF who's
Silas,
fast.
A lot of threats. But they have so
Alright,
much vision
team
control,
fight,
it's
here
tough
we
go.
go.
To fight into this.
Yeah, so much of this vision has already
Can
been
investigate a fucking
They can
flank
just wait
angle.
out the Sonic Wave.
Or
Look at how
Faker.
careful Teddy is positioning. He's like, I'm way back.
Yeah, and
I
he
am
needs to
nowhere
stay
near.
away from Faker because a hijacked arrow could be a real big deal
Exactly.
for T1 as Carrier on that flank angle. And he gets into the pit. Now it's an opportunity to kick out on
Ona
the handle
kicks.
through Rich here. But it is going to be
Faker gets the
knocked down
dragon.
That's kind of crazy. Sponge goes in, but Rich is in amongst it as well. The bullet time interrupted pretty quickly, but DRX are just kind of melting.
DRX win easy.
And Rich getting the huge heals.
Wait.
As he looks to exit.
Wait.
It was an even fight until then. Faker dives forward, looks for Rich, but he doesn't get it. The Infernal Chains, and it's Yucal that locks down the kill. Orbit Deception coming on through here, but there's a right click, and Gumayusi's there.
Faker's a psychopath.
Only Rich staying alive here.
9,000 damage for Gumayusi in the
Oh my
fight,
God.
positioning incredibly well and layering
what
in
was
the
that
damage
fight?
to start to finish. Teddy, unfortunately, without position,
I thought DRX cleaned up.
was not able to do anywhere near as much, as well as Doran being on top of him towards the latter half of the fight. Faker securing the dragon is the huge problem here, but look at
Look at that
Doran on
MF
top
ult,
of Teddy.
fucking
He has to
shit.
flash away. Teddy can do nothing in this fight. Meanwhile, Gumayusi sitting at full health with his Bloodthirster just queuing on cooldown and just
Yeah,
tapping
Guma sat
people
untouched.
out of this fight. Does an insane amount of damage.
That
Flashes the
flash
wall,
was
follows
not
through here as
necessary,
well.
bro.
Phenomenal return here to the LCK for Gumayusi, and unfortunately Teddy was just shut down by Doran. Couldn't do much, even though Rich had some phenomenal knockups there and was healing like crazy. What a fight.
That was sick.
And still, we walk away with a 300 gold lead for T1.
Yeah.
If they got the dragon, if DRX got the dragon, it'd be 2 dragons apiece, you know?
And
Crazy.
It's not the kind of blowout that we saw last time, and that's the great thing about this, because now we still get to see another fight.
Well, it might-
Something might
Bro, we've had
It
so
might be
many
about
close
to be like
games
that, 'cause
tonight,
similarly
and these
to
were
last
both
game,
meant to be
T1
hard
have full vision
stomps.
control here. And if DRX just trickle
That's
through
wild.
just like they did last
Man.
game, it will be the exact same thing that happened in game 1.
There
and
is
they are
not
looking
a
to do it.
single ward.
Yeah, it's exact same situation as game 1.
All right, well, the arrow is going
Doran.
to connect onto Doran. This Otacon is extraordinarily low as Yuka looking to make his way in. The public execution is fantastic as Faker is going to turn up as well. He picks up an arrow. Down goes Carrier to start this one off.
Where the hell's
Faker's
Guma?
golden. He's bought so much time, and Rich just cannot do enough. He's now looking to get onto Doran in that backline, but he's just a
Oh my God,
distraction.
Rich is playing so
As now
well.
Rich flapping after them, looking for a bit of an angle here, as it's only Guma and Ona that are left alive, and the Otacon, thankfully for DRX fans, doesn't fall
Aatrox is a
amongst
little
all
bit of a
that.
problem,
Huge
man.
heroic plays here across the board for DRX, and even though Teddy dies, both Rich and Yucal play the fight so well that T1 end up trading evenly, but it's not enough. Because of that, they can't actually continue to take these objectives. Remember, the Otacon is shredding some of these resistances as well, so it's really tough for Guma to just walk forward. So he's actually out of the fight for a lot of this early part. Doran goes in super deep, and unfortunately for him, isolates himself. It's a great stasis here from Faker, and yes, they take out Teddy super early, so he's not going to offer much damage, but because Doran...
Bessa doesn't do too much AoE, like, it's very single target here.
Follow up, so it ends up being a pretty even trade, slight trade up for DRX, and they actually remain about 300, 400 gold in the lead. They deny the objectives, and unlike last time, they're actually able to show up to the objective as all 5 and get there before it's too late and actually end up securing the fight itself.
Yeah, really nicely done. I swear, like, Gumayusi should be playing lethality. Because the angles on these ultimates have been fantastic. A little bit better than that arrow from Teddy that did go a little bit wide. But yeah, I mean look, that bullet time just didn't feel like it did quite enough as Doran once again caught out of position. The Infernal Chains pulls him back, but he
What
uses
is this
the
fight?
ultimate.
Sponge goes
is
down.
actually the one
Brom
that
gonna
falls
follow.
down. This time, Carrier's is able to keep himself alive, and Rich is trying to be the hero, but it's not enough. He's CC'd and put down.
It should be
and
Baron and
T1
Atacon
will
here.
find themselves that advantage they've been looking for.
And we had the fight, you know, we jumped into it a little bit late. I'd love to see exactly how the setup worked and how how DRX thought they were going to win that exchange or the engage there.
It's close until DRX start being like they just make the dumbest plays and then GG.
Team when the front line goes in that deep and just kind of ends up popping. So it's Rich who thinks he's caught Doran here. Sponge actually ults onto the Ambessa. And then Carria's follow-up here is so phenomenal. They end up getting the charm on the Sponge. He dies first. Carria then gets a knock-up on the Rich to keep him out of the fight. Look at Teddy. Throws a volley in, and he's like, I'm sorry, that's all I got. You guys
So
were way
random
too
a
far
fight.
away. You were way too split. I can't offer anything here. And that's that. That's Otacon. That's Baron.
We've seen this before.
We just recently did, didn't we?
Yeah, and so now it's 3.5k, the gold lead instead of 300. It's not quite the explosion.
Oh, it's Mountain
that we
Soul
saw in the
fight
last
too.
game,
Here we
but that
go.
is before all these turrets have fallen down. And
Yeah,
you
it
best
could very well
believe
be.
a lot of these turrets are going to be falling down.
It could very well be very soon.
Ari's damage has
So
fallen
we're all
off.
the way
Like,
to
she
2
is just
GAs
useless.
For Doran and Owner.
Not even fallen off. She never had damage to begin with.
Faker here
But
as Owner
useless champ
is going
now.
to stop Andal from following up. And chains are going to connect. Faker going in one more time as World Enders happening across the board. But with a Mountain Soul available, I think Faker is definitely just a distraction at this point in time.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
just
DRX
a
are
bait.
playing like they're the ones who have the withdrawals.
Oh, good dash to get
He's
out
a
of the way
bait.
of the arrow. And in the meantime,
Why are you killing
it is gonna
Faker
be Mountain
for
Soul.
Mountain
Faker will be
Soul?
taken, or at least withdrawn. And now they're going
Oh my
in.
god.
Okay.
Sponge is
Carrier
so
going to deliver
oh my
Sponge
god.
to the rest of the team.
Oh my god, Sponge.
And I don't know about that one.
Sponge
Yeah, I
fucking
think
Bob.
Sponge was
Oh my
reminded
god.
about how his ultimate works by Carrier there in that moment.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
And also reminded that the rest of his team was off killing Faker as Yukal going to be dashing away from Owner here.
You mean withdrawing Faker?
Yes, there we go. They were withdrawing Faker. Doran is going to try and ult, but does not quite manage to do so. Gumayusi just going to get them out of there, as Owner is continuing to chase Yukal as much as he possibly can, while the rest of his team are looking to win the game.
They're gonna go
Faker
for the
is
end here,
popped back
boys.
up again, and he is just going to teleport to this mid lane. Ultimate from Andal not going to do too much, as Faker's going to land that arrow. That is no worries at all. Going golden as the rest of these Nexus turrets fall down, and T1, I mean, it was kept even for quite some time, but they dispatch the
Rockstar!
Nexus immediately after
My
finding
God.
just one fight that worked in their favor.
A T1 back chat or a DRX is shit. I think they had to work so hard to beat DRX. I'm actually a little bit concerned. DRX aren't that great of a team, bro. I don't know. Faker did not. Faker's laning phase did not look that great.